One of the most common questions that I receive is something along the lines of, I have a low egg count, can I still get pregnant? Or, I've just found out that my AMH levels are only whatever, I'm desperate to have a baby, can I still get pregnant? So, if this is you asking these questions, I've made this video for you. Stay tuned and I'll answer your question and explain exactly what you need to do. Hello, if this is our first time connecting, welcome. My name is Melanie McGrice and I'm a fertility and prenatal dietitian. I help couples boost their fertility and give their babies the best start possible with the power of good nutrition. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel and social media so that you can access all of my content. Now you can access all of my social media handles in the description underneath this video. Having worked with thousands of women who have had problems conceiving, plus going through my own personal fertility roller coaster, I get that it can be really stressful when it dawns on you that you may not be able to have kids. Most women spend years trying not to get pregnant, then all of a sudden you discover that you may have actually missed your chance, and it's absolutely gut-wrenching. Firstly, it's important to note that chronological age doesn't always equate biological age. Yes, statistically, the older we are, the more the odds are stacked against us statistically, but our health plays an incredibly important role on our chances of conceiving. Next, I want to clearly explain that there is a difference between low AMH levels and a low egg count. So let's start by looking at your AMH levels first. AMH is an acronym that stands for anti-Mullerian hormone. AMH is a hormone which is made by the small follicles in your ovary which have not yet begun to develop into mature eggs. Now, if you go and see a doctor worried about your fertility, it's one of the first tests that they will undertake to get a sense of your egg count, also known as your ovarian reserve. Now, can I ask you, have you ever walked into a shop and seen a dress or a pair of pants that you just loved, only to discover that your size wasn't there on the rack? Hopefully, you ask the attendant if they have any more stock hidden away somewhere. And then maybe the attendant disappears for around 5 to 10 minutes as you stand there feeling a little bit anxious, then reappears stating that yes, they had one more left in your size out the back. Sometimes they do come back and announce that that's it. What's on the rack is all that they have. So you have to choose to squeeze into something that doesn't really fit properly or give up and walk away. Now, certainly, if your size isn't available on the rack, it's usually a good indication that they are running low on stock of this item, and if you really want it, you should purchase it today. But it doesn't mean that they don't have any. Well, this is how I like to think of AMH. AMH is a good indication that your stocks of viable eggs aren't plentiful, and you should definitely be taking your fertility seriously. If you want to have a baby, you need to start taking action now instead of putting it off for a few years while you advance your career or travel for a while. But a low AMH alone is not enough to diagnose low ovarian reserve. It's only one factor. Other indicators of low ovarian reserve may include having an ultrasound to undertake a follicle count and testing your FSH levels, which stands for your follicle stimulating hormone. So what happens if these factors all come back low too, and if you are diagnosed with a low ovarian reserve? Well, then it comes down to a discussion between you and your fertility specialist. You need to think about how far you're willing to go to have a baby. Now, some couples with a low ovarian reserve need to go through multiple interventions and multiple cycles of egg collections to collect the eggs that they require for IVF. Some women, even with a low egg count, get pregnant in their first cycle of IVF. I've also known of women who have had a low egg count who decide not to opt for fertility treatments and then surprisingly conceive naturally. Now, sure, it's not the norm, and if you really want a baby, I wouldn't recommend relying on it, but it certainly has happened. Remember, everyone's path is different. Overall, the key things to remember are that, number one, it only takes one egg to have a baby. So although egg count is an important factor, it's not the only factor that determines whether or not you can have a baby. And then secondly, if you do have a low egg count, the quality of those eggs becomes even more important. So optimizing your nutrition is absolutely essential. So I'd highly recommend downloading my free fertility meal plan to help get you started. Just go to www.melaniemcgrice.com/fertility and make sure that you check out some of my other videos on topics such as optimizing implantation and reducing the risk of miscarriage to optimize your chances of conceiving. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Ready?